I can't believe I'm saying this, but cheating's
I
okay.
kind of support it. Is there morality to cheating?
If you beat down a patient and caring person long enough, they will absolutely mess you up.
If you're going to show up and complain, like, don't show up at all.
Hey guys, welcome to Honey Hearts. Today we're going to bring you along for a series of very fun and heartwarming, but somewhat potentially heartbreaking stories. I'm V, your storyteller for today.
And I'm Sandra, listening to the stories today.
So let's head in for it. And if you guys see that we're sitting a little bit different, it's because we have a little bit of a guest on the podcast today. Beanie here, my cat. Alrighty, let's head into the story. Okay, so first one makes you question the morality of cheating.
Is there morality to cheating?
Well, I don't think so, but this question brought a lot of conflict. Here goes the first story. Am I the a-hole for telling my brother he has himself to blame for his wife's cheating? My older brother, 29-year-old male, has always had it easy and got way too comfortable in his situation. He was always the favorite compared to myself, 25-year-old female, and my sister, 32-year-old female. The handsome kid, popular in high school and with girls, that kind of thing. It seems during college he actually found a long-term girlfriend, and when he finished up school, he married her. It's been 6 years since they were married, and he hasn't done anything.
What do you mean, anything?
His wife has always been a driven, successful woman. How he got her to marry him, I will never know. Ooh, that's harsh coming from his own sister.
Yeah.
Since they married, he has not worked. They don't have kids. He barely does anything around the house. He outright admits it. He has gained a considerable amount of weight, developed a crippling porn addiction, and he's way too open to admitting it. It's awkward.
Wait, he doesn't work?
He doesn't work.
Oh.
And spends his days with that or gaming. My brother got too used to gliding through life because he was always the pretty and fun guy. Now that he had his dream girl who provided for the house and brought in a ton of money without him having to lift a finger, he stopped trying to contribute at all. His wife works and does all the chores. They're roommates. I've always liked her and we hang out quite a bit. About 4 years ago, she started doing anything she could to fix the relationship, since of course my brother manipulated her into believing it was her fault.
Oh.
She tried to set up therapy appointments, go to the gym more, encouraging him to go to the gym, tried intimacy more often, cut back hours to spend more time with him, bought him expensive things. She spent years trying everything she could to fix things, believing it was her fault. He didn't try a single thing. Outright rejected therapy, mocked her weight even though she practically has a supermodel figure, insisted his weight was fine, refused to lift a finger for the house, and kept blaming her for the way things were, saying if she tried more, he would be better.
Okay.
Oof. 3 years later, she was still coming home to him watching porn in a dirty house while she cooked and cleaned. 3 years of her working herself to the bone, only to come home to an emotionally abusive husband who beat her down while she tried everything to fix her marriage. Last year, she decided she wanted a divorce. My brother became hostile and promised to drag it out and take as much as he could, as apparently they have a prenuptial agreement that he somehow got her to agree to.
Oh my God.
I know very little about divorce laws, especially in our state, except for that we don't live in an at-fault state. But according to her, if she tried to go forward with it and he got petty, he could take a lot from her. Everything they have is because of her. She decided against divorce. She was trapped with him and accepted against mine and others' objections.
No.
Oh man, this is devastating.
Oh my gosh.
I guess by then she was over his BS. She slowly spent more time away from home and claimed she was working extra hours. She didn't bother him about therapy or his weight. She actually pretty much stopped interacting with him. She didn't cook anymore. She didn't clean anymore. It didn't take long for her to admit to me that she was spending quite a bit of time with other guys and girls. She never brought any home, but was staying out quite late. My brother didn't notice, and I didn't care. For years, she was a beaten down shell trying to appease someone who didn't respect her. Now, she was lively, happy, outgoing, and everything she used to be. I'm not happy about her feeling stuck with my brother or the concept of cheating in general, but apparently it works for her. It didn't take long for him to find out. Apparently, there were a lot of people she was meeting. He was livid, demanding she stop and threatened divorce.
Okay, buddy.
She didn't care. She told him he knew where the door was. It was her home solely, and she was allowing him to stay out of obligation. She told him she would gladly stop if he agreed to a fair divorce without him fighting it, and that she was showing decency as a provider and a wife by not bringing her partners into their home. The thing is, even if my brother got his way in the divorce, he knew that money would not last at all, and without any work experience in the shape he was currently in, he would be screwed. He was an overweight slacker who barely had anything to his name. Prenup or not, now he was stuck. And so, that's how it's been for nearly a year. She barely comes home anymore, and the list of affair partners has only gotten longer. My brother has tried going to the gym more, picking up a part-time job, cooking, but it's too late. He had years to fix this and only chose to change when his back was up against the wall. He's been begging me to make her stop and to give their marriage a shot. I told him he's a moron who only has himself to blame. If you beat down a patient and caring person long enough, they will absolutely mess you up. He needs to just accept a divorce in her favor and learn from this. He didn't like my answer at all and hasn't talked to me for a couple weeks. Am I the a-hole?
No. First of all, like, why is he asking OP, like his sister, right? Sister?
Mm-hmm.
To fix his marriage? Like, that's not OP's job to do.
Nope. And I think it might be because OP says here that she's always had a really great relationship with the sister-in-law, or should I say ex, or to-be
Technically
ex-sister-in-law.
still sister-in-law.
Yeah. So maybe that's why. But I mean, it's too little, too late.
Oh, yeah.
Hey guys, I hope you guys have been enjoying these stories with us so far. If you have, and you're listening to us on YouTube, please hit the like button and subscribe. Help us reach 5K, guys. And if you're listening to us on Spotify, don't forget to give us 5 stars.
5 stars.
Thanks, guys.
He just sounds like a nasty partner to be with. Like, not even partner, like nasty roommate to be with.
Horrible housemate in general.
Yeah,
So,
like
at the
not
very least,
wanting to do anything, like absolutely nothing, not cleaning, not working, and not even like, emotional support or connection.
They're worse than strangers at this point.
Yeah.
Because I feel like at least if you had a paying roommate, they would, one, contribute monetarily.
Mm-hmm.
2, probably you're kind of obligated to clean up or pick after yourself.
Or at least like you are expected to. Like for him,
Yeah.
it feels like the expectation isn't even there anymore.
He just doesn't put in any effort, like 0 for years
Yeah.
now. I feel like she's more than justified. Now, here's a question.
Mm-hmm.
What is your philosophy on cheating?
Oh, this story has me confused. First of all, I do not condone cheating. I think there's other things you can do before it gets there. For example, if the relationship's not going well, I think you can talk it out, separate.
Yeah.
And then, like, you can meet with whoever you want to meet.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this situation's a little tricky because she wanted to separate, but he's ready to take her for, like, everything.
Every cent, yeah.
Yeah, everything he can get from her.
I think before reading this, I was very much, no, cheating is never, ever okay. But I think with this is the first and potentially only time I'll ever
Yeah.
say that she is justified because I think he kind of
Kinda,
trapped
like,
her.
serves him right.
Yeah.
He trapped her, and now
Yeah.
that she wants to be free, he's not letting her have that peacefully, right?
Yeah.
Like, he won't treat the situation and separate like adults, like sit
Mhm.
down, talk about it, divide it fairly, and then move on. But he won't let her move on.
I'll be honest, I think he's vicious about it.
Yeah.
He's basically like, oh, try it if you can, like threatening her.
So honestly, I'm rooting for her. And I don't root for cheating, but I don't know if this is cheating anymore because it doesn't sound like they're in a partnership.
No, it sounds like he's in a one-sided relationship and she's kind of broken free from that. I mean, legally they're still attached. It's not quite fair. Look, usually I'm like, okay, divorce or separate first. But as we've seen, she tried that and he's basically holding on saying, haha, see if you can
Yeah.
type of thing. So I'm kind of glad that she's not taking it lying down because some people might be like, oh, well, I guess I'm trapped in this situation. Let me try and make him change.
And it sounds like she is happier now. Like OP's
Oh, yeah.
observing she's more lively. She's like
Mhm.
showing her personality again. I feel like that's a really telling change. Like if someone else
Yeah.
notices the change, that means that it was necessary.
And I love that she kind of threw it back in his face and now he's the one asking for like
Yeah.
threatening divorce and she's like, There's the
Well,
door.
I feel like he was like being such like a baby. Like he's like,
Such a brat.
oh boo hoo,
Yeah.
like can you tell her to stop? Like tell her to stop. But
Tell your
like,
sister
dude, you
to-
did this to yourself.
You know what's even funnier to me though? It's just like he's like, oh, he's trying to cook more. He's trying to change.
Yeah.
Where was this years ago? Years ago.
Too late. Like right now, it's too late.
I would have to say I'm surprised by how much she tried. Like she tried working out more. She tried getting him to go to gym. She tried going to the gym, therapy. You name it, she's done it.
I feel like he's skated by through life. It sounds like just being like, oh, the fun, good-looking guy, right?
Yeah.
But
got everything too easy. And
I
got
feel
spoiled.
like this was a much needed lesson. Sucks that his wife had to
suffer through
be
it.
the example, but
It's so satisfying though. I like what wife did.
yeah.
It doesn't seem like she's gonna falter or change her mind.
Yeah.
But I hope this begging that he's doing is not gonna work.
Yeah, like I hope she continues to live for herself.
I was prepared reading this. Like at first, I was thinking, okay, usually I feel like people, like I think family typically take your side, right? Family takes the side of family. It's so refreshing to see that
family's calling the BS out.
Yeah. Like family is not on the brother's side. If anything, they're advocating for her to like, go live your life, be free from my brother. We're just saying a lot.
Yeah, I know. Good on OP for calling that out.
All right, so let's look at the comments. First one. Normally, I'd say get divorced first, but he was actively obstructing divorce. Not the a-hole, and so is your sister-in-law. She is actually smart in getting him to become active this way, making him less dependent on her money. Another one. It takes a mountain for me to agree that cheating was acceptable morally, but this is it exactly.
Yeah, same.
Once he blocked the divorce and manipulated her, F it. All bets were off.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but cheating's okay.
I kind of support it.
Only in this case.
In this scenario.
In this one case.
Like, yes.
So next comment. I came here to say cheating's never okay. Just break up. Usually pretty hard rule for me. However, I've actually changed my mind. She did try to break up. After trying to make up for his shortcomings. For years, he literally blackmailed her into staying. Extortion marriage. So, not the a-hole, and honestly, neither is your sister-in-law. She checked out of that marriage a long time ago. Some people will say that she should have still divorced him and let him take her to the cleaners with assets and alimony. But I kind of admire her for her actions. He made her life a living hell while living it up in porn and sloth. She decided to return the favor instead of rewarding it. Now, she's the one living it up by having a good life while not giving up all her current assets and future assets. Absolutely bad ass of her. Impressive.
Yes. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like I'm glad that it shows in her, I guess, like how she holds herself now, because they're saying she's more lively, she seems happier.
Now here's a question, and the end of this comment said, yes, I'd feel the same way if the genders were reversed. Would you feel the same way if genders were reversed with the sister-in-law? Like instead of sister-in-law, maybe it was like the sister and the brother-in-law.
I think I would feel the same way if you saw the same change. So like in personality and how happy they are, right? So like if sister-in-law was the one who didn't work, didn't clean, watched, porn and like did absolutely nothing to contribute to the relationship or household, but still would not agree to like a divorce. Like a peaceful divorce.
And then like threaten them. It's like, I'll take you to court. Yeah.
I would say I would feel the same way.
I think so. Like, I don't think our perspectives here change. Like,
yeah,
I don't think
I'm just
mine
looking
have
at it
changed.
as like two people in a partnership and one person is just like not doing anything and also threatening, right?
Yeah.
So, as long as that's the case, I'm going to feel the same way.
Yep, I agree. And the comments have agreed. They say both OP and sister-in-law are not the a-hole.
I agree. It's so weird to me. I'm just like imagining the brother like, oh, help me save my wrist. Tell her not to do that. Like,
That's so immature. How are you going to tell
it's
your
very
own sister?
childish. And I don't know. This is just my own theory. But like, I feel like when you live that way, you kind of like let yourself rot. You kind of stunt your growth, right? Like you stunt your growth and you're not really like in tune with the real world. His reaction, how he's handling things, sound like how a kid would kind of...
Oh, like throwing a tantrum instead.
Throwing a kid throwing a tantrum, right? Maybe he reacts that way because his like own personal growth is also stunted. He doesn't know how to handle situations like an adult because he never had to.
Ugh. I'm impressed that sister-in-law actually put up with it for so long. Because we're talking about years.
Yeah. I could not. No.
I could never. She's a kinder and more compassionate soul to him than I would be.
Yeah. Like, that's a long time to deal with that crap.
No. Well, in the first story, we saw that OP called out her own brother on his BS behavior.
As she should.
I would have to
Hi,
say,
Beanie.
oh, yes, Bear. Are you struggling? Too big?
She was trying to get up on the
Oh.
ledge and then slid down.
Beanie is hovering around right now, guys. If you see us a little distracted or hear meows, that's her.
I think I was like
Bear.
watching her earlier.
So she's around, guys. Now, first story was all about calling out family when it comes to their BS. Now, our second story, we're going to hear some more call-outs being made.
Oh, spicy.
Am I the a-hole for saying just leave at my cookout? My sister Nicole, age 34, brought her new boyfriend Steve to our family cookout yesterday. It's for about 30 people. For the sides, everyone brought in sides. My sister brought one bag of store brand potato chips, and Steve helped himself to beer right away before being introduced to everyone. We're having hamburgers and hot dogs and just hang out with the family. It's nothing fancy. Steve asks, "Is this it?" When the first plate of hot dogs are done and waiting on the round of hamburgers. My wife says there will be hamburgers soon. And Steve tells my wife and sister about his family and how they have barbecue chicken, steak, shrimp, and many options. I picked up the plate of hot dogs and told Steve he could leave and go to his family barbecue instead. He just looked at me and drank his beer, and I told him my sister to go since this wasn't good enough for Steve.
Sorry, that's... If you guys hear a cat whimpering, that's just Mochi playing with Beanie.
Yeah, our cats are having a little, meet and greet right now.
Yeah,
So
actually,
you might hear
all
'em.
3 cats are around us.
They're all watching us, so they're watching with you guys.
Hi,
Oh,
hi, Mochi.
She heard that she was being talked about here. Where was I? Oh, okay. He just looked at me and drank his beer, and I told him and my sister to go since this wasn't good enough for Steve. I gave my sister her store brand potato chips back and told her to get out. My sister and Steve left, and the cookout was fine after that. My mom heard about me kicking them out and was mad at me and told me to apologize to my sister.
Oh my god. Mochi!
There goes my tea. You guys might have seen Mochi sip some of the tea there. I think they saw it too. She said that the tea was hot, guys. Okay. Well, that tea's no longer hot, so don't worry. But she's saying the drama's hot. Okay. My mom heard about me kicking them out and was mad at me and told me to apologize to my sister. Maybe there was a misunderstanding, but Steve was just an a-hole commenting like that at someone's house. And the first time you meet their family, my wife thinks I was right because Steve acted like that in her home, and insulting the host is a good reason to be kicked out.
Yes.
Others are split about 50-50 when they heard about what happened. Am I the a-hole?
No. I just think it's so rude to show up as a guest at one family gathering and compare it to another family gathering. Oh yeah, my family has all these things. That's all you have? We're only having hot dogs and burgers. And you, he didn't even bring anything?
Oh, he brought himself, his big mouth, and his appetite for beer. That's all he did.
Yeah, like the sister. So what, his girlfriend brought chips, which is whatever. But it doesn't sound like he brought anything.
No.
So what is he comparing?
Okay, but the audacity, he didn't say hi to someone. He didn't bring anything. He comes in, grabs a beer, and goes, that's it. You know what we have? It sounds so kind of uppity.
It's not really a we, because it's someone else that prepped in that other gathering.
It's not even something he did
not
that he's bragging
contributing
about.
Anything. And so honestly, if you're gonna show up and complain, don't show up at all.
Yeah, especially, aren't you usually, when you meet your girlfriend's family for the first time, isn't this your chance to make a good first impression?
Mm-hmm. That's when you should be showing up with the best thing you'll ever bring. First of all,
If this is his best behavior, I worry about what he's really like as a partner.
Yeah, would you have kicked him out if you were the host, or would you have just let him stay?
No, I would have kicked him out. I feel like if you tolerate that type of thing, especially from a stranger at your own house at an event that you're hosting, it kind of sets an enabling tone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're going to let this person, Steve's dating his sister, so Steve's probably going to come again and think this is okay and keep on acting like this.
Like, honestly, this is probably not the greatest thing to do, but it makes you want to feel a little bit petty. Maybe I wouldn't have kicked him out like right away, but I probably would have made remarks.
Like
so I guess this big shot right here says he's gonna go out and bring back some wings and ribs and whatever.
Barbecue chicken, steaks.
Yeah, since he, thinks that there's not enough food here, I guess he's offering to pick some up.
I would have kicked him out. But if he had stayed, or if I was like trying to be nice to my sister and say, all right, like, whatever, I guess Steve can stay, I probably would have been the petty route. Like, I probably wouldn't have talked to him very much. I probably would have been like side-eyeing him a little bit. Like, just I think
if he stayed, I probably would have been like, hey, is that enough for you? Is that enough for you? Like, once he grabs a hot dog, is that enough for you? Are you sure it's going to be enough? And then he grabs a burger. Will that be enough for you? Like, I think I'd be a little annoying. Or
even like after he finishes and be like, oh, you seem to eat a lot for someone who just didn't feel like this barbecue was enough for you or good enough for you.
Still, it seems like you're enjoying the food here after all, despite your initial complaints.
We sound like mean aunties, but I mean, to a rude person like Steve, a complete stranger,
you kind of have to like meet them back with, equal rudeness. Yeah. I don't know if that's the lesson to teach, but
hey, we're not saints, okay, guys?
Yeah.
We have a limit to our temper. So let's see what the comments say. First one, not the a-hole. Why would you put up with this nonsense at your own home? I don't understand anyone who thinks you went too far. Do they think this Jack ASS would have stopped at just one comment? Hell no. As host, you ensured your other 30 guests wouldn't be subjected to entitled passive-aggressive BS. Oh, they brought up a good point. Even if OP had kept Steve at the barbecue, there's no telling how many people Steve would have acted like this to.
Right.
Like, he would have gone around to all their guests and been like, is that what you're eating? Oh, well, my family barbecue. Or, oh, what's that you're wearing?
He's
or
that
what?
guy.
Yeah. That guy. The guy who kind of inserts his own opinion.
Yeah.
Without regard for other people or without knowing the circumstance. Don't be a Steve. Another comment, not the a-hole. They brought a bag of chips, drank beer they didn't provide, and thought you were cheap, rude, entitled, and deserve the treatment they received. Anyone who thinks you were wrong can invite them to their next party.
Yeah, like you try being the host and have a guest come up to you and complain about your food.
First thing too, like first time meeting you, you don't have a relationship with this person. They're just like, that's it.
Unless you're the host or unless you're like contributing, just don't complain.
The only situation I think is entitled to comment on the food is if Steve was their original guest, like in the first place, like someone they know, and if OP invited all these people, like 30-some people to a barbecue and then didn't provide enough food on purpose. Like if they were like, oh, well, sorry guys, there's only 10 hot dogs and I invited 30 people, so Hunger Games style.
It doesn't seem like they ran out of food. It just sounds like Steve wasn't happy with the variety.
Yeah. What do you typically do for barbecues? I feel like hot dogs and burgers, like I think that's nice.
A staple.
Yeah, I think that's like usually the main foods people
and then
go
everyone
towards.
else was welcome to bring sides to add to it. Yeah. So as long as everybody contributed, there should have been like a good enough spread.
Right. I mean, that's big talk for someone who brought nothing.
Yeah, and it's a lot of work prepping burgers and hot dogs, like especially if you're grilling them one by one or like even a few at a time. Yeah. You're just standing there and just like constantly flipping.
Someone has to work the grill.
Yeah.
And that's usually not a fun job either.
They're usually missing out like on the hanging out part of the gathering.
I will say I've hosted barbecues before.
Yeah.
I think the toughest part is especially during the summer and it's hot and you can't grill indoors. So you're standing out pretty much like you're working and there's smoke, all the smoke as well. Like
and everyone else is inside in the AC.
Like, in the cooler area. Another comment, not the a-hole. If you want food like steak, shrimp, and chicken at a cookout funded by someone else, you better effing prepare it and bring it to cook on the grill yourself.
Exactly. Bring it.
Oh, there's someone who kind of mentioned what you said. That would have been great. Quote, hey everyone, Steve is going to go pick up some steak, shrimp, and chicken. So save room. Hurry back, Steve, and thanks.
Yep. If you want it, bring it.
Yep, do it yourself. I'm glad the comments are in agreement,
They're
not the
funny.
a-hole.
Yeah.
They're funny.
They're
They're
like
like,
pretty witty.
Now, it's time for our next story. I hope you're ready for this one.
Ooh.
Okay, we started out a little bit serious with OP calling out her brother, and then we kind of switched tones a little bit, got a little bit lighter with a barbecue. But now I hope you're ready because third story is cooking up something a little bit heavier than barbecue.
Oh. Sounds spicy. Is it spicy?
Yep.
Oh, goodness.
Now, it's from the subreddit AITA. Am I the a-hole for telling my ex that she chose our kids over our relationship, and it's not my problem that she's lonely now that they're grown up? My ex and I had our first child when we were 26 years old. We met at a bar celebrating our 21st birthday, and we're literally the exact same age. She changed. Being a mom became her only identity. Our second child, when we were 28 years old, compounded it. She was a mom, not a wife, and not even herself, not the woman I met and fell in love with and married. All she wanted to do was kid stuff. Kids movies, kids TV, kid books, everything. If I wanted to drop the kids off and take her to a farmer's market, she would say no, that the kids loved the farmer's market and we had to take them. They were 3 and 1. They did not love the farmer's market. If anything, the older one loved the mini donuts. And she couldn't stand to hear them cry, so she let them sleep with us constantly. When I put my foot down, she would start crying about how mean I was. When the kids finally outgrew that, she would let them come in our room without knocking. So, sex was interesting.
Oh, I can imagine that's awkward.
Having a cold little hand grab my calf made for at least one very hard thrust. I put a lock on the bedroom door, and she took it off. We went for counseling. She went for counseling. Nothing ever changed. She said it would be different when the kids were older, but it never changed. I left when the kids were 9 and 11. I planned and paid for a trip for our 15th anniversary. We were going to Thailand like we always planned when we were younger. Ooh.
Oh, that's nice.
Thailand sounds so fun, and that's so nice.
Yeah.
She changed the plans. She canceled with her parents, watching the kids. We went as a family to Disney World.
Why? Why cancel your parents watching?
To go to Disney World? Disney World over Thailand?
When it was already planned and paid for?
Oh. We had been the year before, and the kids loved it so much. Ooh, I
So
I
they
can
were
smell the
already
sarcasm.
there.
Yep, they were at Disney World a year before.
I'm starting to get where OP is coming from.
I lasted another 6 months, then I left. I pay child support. I pay spousal support. I'm there for the kids all the time. I enjoy my custody time. I go to their extracurriculars on the days I don't have them. I have rooms for them in my house. I met someone new a year later. We got married a year after that. We had our first child 2 years after that.
Okay.
She is an excellent stepmom, and the kids are polite and friendly with her. They were grown up, and they had a mom, so she's more like a trusted adult. The kids are now 16 and 14, and they're sick of mom's attention. They're spending more and more of their time at my house, and I love having them over. And here they understand what privacy and personal space mean. My ex is lonely. She devoted her life to her kids, and she expected them to be around her forever, I guess. She has dated other men, but she refuses to prioritize them in any way over the kids. An example. One guy lasted 6 months. He wanted to take her away for the weekend. She couldn't because the younger one had a soccer game. It was my weekend. The guy had checked with me that I would be attending and not just leaving the kid at the field. I was. She refused to go and showed up at the game without him. That was the last time I saw him. She's getting angry and bitter that I left her alone to go start a new family with my child bride. My wife was 30 and when I met her, and I was 38. I wasn't exactly robbing the cradle. I told her that she wanted that life, that I gave her every opportunity to be my partner, and she said she would rather be a mom. She says that that wasn't true. I asked her to prove me wrong, to tell me one time when she put our relationship above the slightest inconvenience to her kids. She couldn't do it. I reminded her that she passed up a weekend with her boyfriend to go to a soccer game. She said it was important, and I said that adult relationships are also important. My wife thinks that I was harsh, but fair. Our child sleeps through the night in her nursery, though. So am I the a-hole?
No. It sounds like OP is right. And okay, like granted, we're only getting his side of the
Right.
story. There's two sides to the story, but from what we're hearing, I feel like she really, embraced like the identity of being a mom, right?
Yeah.
And then I don't think she's prepared for life after that. Like when,
Yeah.
like the birds leave the nest, right? And she becomes an empty nester.
Right. Like your kids all have their own lives.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of times
things.
parents get caught up in that, but they don't realize, kids grow up and then they have their own lives just as the parents did. Because it's not like she's living with her parents, right?
Yeah.
So like it's a hard reality, but I feel so bad that OP like was neglected. I think she forgot that she had to prioritize the relationship, like her own relationship too. And to have to like there was absolutely no boundary, of like being parents and then like being like lovers.
Yeah.
Like it was all mixed up in one bedroom, and that was very weird.
Oh gosh, that's awkward. When he was saying how it's like they can't even have intimacy without the kids coming and going.
Yeah. Like no wonder OP left, right? Because it gets tiring. Like sometimes you just need a break from like being a parent. The thing is like you're never really not a parent, right? But I feel like there were times when she could have prioritized, how do I say it, foster the relationship.
She chose not to though.
Yeah, but she's making choices to actively avoid that and only be a mom. Like you can do both. You don't have to choose being a mom over like being a partner. You can do both.
Yeah, and at first when OP was saying, oh, like she became a mom, and I'm like, well, yeah, duh, she has kids, like that's fine.
Yeah.
But then when he continued like his pain, like I could feel his pain from years of neglect.
Yeah.
Because even when he set up everything, like, it's not like he's leaving the kids and like, let's ignore the kids, but he's setting things up. Like he planned that whole trip to Thailand. Like it takes time and effort. They had
someone to watch the kids.
Yeah, like the parents were watching, so it's like trusted people.
Yeah.
She was okay with it. And then last minute she decided, no, actually we're going to Disney World again.
It feels like she has this need to be in control of the kids' lives, even when she doesn't need to be.
She feels way too invested. Some people are like super close to their kids and they want to kind of be near their kids at all times. And I think that's fine. But I think the reason why maybe the kids now being, 14, 16 are like living at OP's house more often rather than mom is because it's suffocating.
Yeah.
I think she's kind of smothering them with this attention.
I'm really glad that OP figured out what he needed to do. Like he figured out he needed a relationship. So he went and found another relationship. He did everything appropriately.
X is very bitter though because, the jab she was making about
now
how
she has no one around her. Like obviously you pushed all your adult relationships away and then you're smothering
your kids.
Yeah, like
so who do you expect is going to be around you? Like choosing to be around you.
Yeah, like no one wants to be around you anymore because you kind of didn't prioritize their needs. And like, yeah, you were around your kids a lot, but maybe you didn't prioritize their need for independence.
Yeah, which is harmful to the kids too. So I think the kids are kind of, as they're growing up, they're realizing, like love mom time, but I'm not loving this constant, continuous, like kind of mom over your shoulder.
Especially in your teens, you kind of like need space. Otherwise, you feel suffocated.
Here's the thing. So I grew up, right? And privacy was one of the things that I valued the most because in my house, it was kind of like, and I think part of it's like the traditional Asian household as well, where I'm Vietnamese. And it just felt like a lot of times my family was like, need to know everything about my life.
Oh, yeah.
It's to the point where it's like, for example, for me, being able to lock my bedroom door is a big deal. Not because I didn't trust my family, but it's sometimes like, man, I love you guys, but I need some alone time. I need some downtime.
Did your parents ever get mad that you locked your door?
Yes.
Okay, same.
Oh my God.
So my mom, what she would do is, even into my 20s, she would like pop open the door randomly.
No.
Like just like being nosy. She just like pop open the door. No word said. Like she's not saying like, oh hey, like blah blah, or she's not coming in to like talk or hang out. She just like pops in to spy and then closes the door. and if you had your door locked, it's like wiggle wiggle wiggle.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I
Like
feel
the
you.
jingling of the doorknob, right?
Okay, so my dad, like up until even I was in high school, right? A man of few words, but goodness. Same thing. If I lock the door because I'm studying or I'm doing something important, right? Or even just regular, like I'm just relaxing, right?
Mm-hmm.
My dad won't say a single thing. But he'll like, if the door is open, he also does that. Like, let me pop in and see what's going on. All right. Or worse, the Jimmy motion where they don't say anything. They just kind of, and it's kind of creepy. You guys know in the scary movies where it's just like, it zooms in on the door and it's like the handle's just like.
No word said. Not even like a knock knock. Hey, like what are you up to? No, it's just like expectation for your door to always be unlocked. And sometimes like for me when I'm in the zone, like you know, like if
Concentration,
I'm reading
focus on
something,
something,
watching something, or studying, like I just like need absolute silence. Like no one bother me, right? So I'll lock the door then. But for some reason, like I don't know, it felt like they need to have access to like your space at all times.
No, I know there are times, like, for example, if your kids are really young, like, sure, I understand safety
that's
reason
a
or whatever.
safety thing, yeah.
But Sandra and I are talking about, like, we're, like, old, you know? Like, we're getting older.
Like, when you're in your
college,
teens,
like, for
and
me,
then, like, even in college.
Dude, I need some privacy. Like, please, like, allow me some space to myself.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least knock and say something. Not the creepy, dun, 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 Jimmy, Jimmy, Jimmy. Oh, gosh. And here I thought that was my lone experience.
Oh, no.
I guess a shared universal pain here.
Yeah. It's just no sense of privacy.
I think it's like a lack of boundaries too, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
When I moved, my mom, first thing like she went is she started exploring my place, right? I'm not talking about like, oh, mom, let me show you. No, we walked through the door. She's helping herself to everywhere. When I mean everywhere, I mean like the closet, drawers. I'm like,
same.
Mom, it's, you know, I'm an adult now.
Is it a parent thing? Like, did you guys experience this too?
It's not like they have any ill intention. Nosiness, curiosity.
So I'll tell you one little story. So when we first moved into our house, and my younger cousins were like coming to help, you know, and they needed to use the restroom. Like several of them needed to use the restroom at the same time. So I was like, oh, you guys could use like the master bath, right?
Yeah. And
they were like, no, that feels wrong. And I think that was like like, is that normally a weird thing? They're like, no, it feels like we're invading your privacy. I'm like, it's just our bathroom, right? Like our master. But like, it's like in the bedroom. Mm-hmm. But I remember when my mom first came over, she just like hung out in our bedroom.
Wait, in your master bedroom?
Yeah. Just hung out.
Doing what?
Well, she had like my cousin's like baby. And then it was like hanging out with the baby there.
Wait, but I thought, don't you guys have other rooms though?
Yeah, we have 3 other rooms. And another one had a bed too. But so I'm like, I don't know, is this a parent thing? Is it like, you know, so when my cousins were like, oh, it feels wrong to go in your room, like I'm like, oh, I guess that's probably a normal boundary.
I feel like I would have kind of felt the same way as your cousins. It feels normal for me to use the guest restroom, you know? Like I would never like go upstairs without saying anything, or like unless it's an emergency that I have to tell you.
You're welcome to. Yeah.
I don't have to. Trust me, I don't have no desire to like hang out in the master bedroom.
Come upstairs to use the bathroom.
I don't know. You go to someone's home, even if it's your kid, and you just kind of show yourself the way, like just go everywhere. Is this a parent thing? You guys will have to tell us.
I don't know.
Like, it's not like I have anything to hide, but I just think it's kind of like, I feel weird about it unless I invite them. It's like, oh, come take a tour. It's different from like, Mom, what are you doing in there? What are you looking for? Yeah,
because like if I go to someone else's house, I don't think I would automatically just like explore their master bedroom or bathroom.
No.
Like their main area.
It feels too private. It's weird. I find it really funny that when he was mentioning his child bride, and I bet you that term was coined by the ex, like, oh, you and your child bride. It's 8 years
difference. It's really not.
Yeah, and they met when they were in their 30s.
Still in their 30s.
I was expecting like, child bride.
Like, and you would think like 18 and like 40 or something. Yeah. But that's not the case.
No, they're like grown adults, consenting adults. I'm like, that's fine. Let's see what the comments say. First comment, not the a-hole. She made her choice. You made yours in reply. You gave her 15 plus years to choose you, and she refused. And now when you ask her to provide details behind her accusations, she can't. To me, that's the approach to continue to take. Every accusation, ask for the details behind that conclusion. And when she can't provide the details, maybe start adding in the, then I would appreciate you stopping the baseless accusations. I agree with that. So I guess she expected OP to just wait for her. But I mean, to be honest, why? Like, your relationship didn't have to take a backseat for 15 years.
Yeah, that's too long. She wouldn't have even changed even if he waited.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I feel like she really just made it her identity.
Some people make their jobs their whole identity. And some people make being a parent their whole identity.
The thing is, like, if you make being a mom your identity forever, you're going to have a hard time adjusting when you no longer need to be that mom role.
Right.
At least, like, not to the extent that you are. Like, there comes a time when your kids grow up and they become adults too, and then they become mom and dads too.
And are you going to still treat them like your little baby? Like, I think
you can't. Like, that's not a life that is sustainable to live.
I'm worried that she's going to start isolating her kids this way. Because if her kids are already kind of trying to set a boundary with her and kind of pulling back, and she keeps pushing it, that makes for a very uncomfortable and unhealthy parent-child relationship. Because then she's going to start feeling, I think she's going to start feeling resentful.
You kind of have to like learn to be your own person again. I think that's what she needs to do. It's like relearn how to
function without
live
that role.
Life. Yeah.
Another comment. Not the a-hole. As a child of a woman like your ex, I got to see firsthand what her decisions to never ever leave my side to do anything with my dad alone did to their marriage. It was horrible and hurt him so deeply. It was also incredibly suffocating for me, and I resented the hell out of being the whole beginning and end of her world. It's great that your kids are able to see and appreciate the difference in lifestyles and choosing to spend more time with you. She's going to be in for a world of serious hurt if she doesn't learn and refuses to back off of them once they're ready to fly the nest. I feel that.
They're going to be ready soon.
I feel like they're already kind of starting to get to that point where they're realizing like, okay, boundaries, privacy. These are things that I'm craving that I'm not getting.
They're in their teens, right? Once they go to college, like they might want to choose somewhere far away.
Oh, so I don't know if you got this, but back when I was looking at college, right? I'll be honest, for me, it wasn't about like, I don't care how far the college is. My biggest concern, or the prestige or whatever, my biggest concern was, okay, where can I get the most scholarship money, to be honest?
Exactly.
Like, I'm like, where can I afford? But I remember when I had brought up like potentially like going place, you know, outside my city or going to another state for college. My parents were kind of like taken back and kind of sad. Like they honestly felt really upset that I would even consider going to another state.
I was not allowed to choose another state or even like outside of the city because where we live, like we have a lot of colleges. Like where I lived had a lot of colleges around us, right? Like within half hour, an hour away. And so it was kind of like, why would you choose somewhere far? And I wasn't even allowed to explore that idea.
No.
Yeah. I mean, financially, it still made more sense to stay, but it would have been nice to at least been able to look into that.
Yeah, like to fully explore the option.
Yeah.
Next comment. Not the a-hole and your ex is heading to be one of the horrible mother-in-law subs once your kids find long-term partners. I was just thinking this.
Yeah.
Like, you know, some of the stories we read where it seems like the mother-in-law is way too invested in their kids' like life.
Oh.
She feels like the making for that. Because you feel like your kids are yours, like very possessive. Yeah. So then if they find another partner, they try to start a family, all of a sudden you're like, no, you should name the kids this. You should do this.
I think the mom needs to do some inner work. Journaling it. Like, why are you feeling the way you feel? Like, make it make sense on paper. Like, why do you do this? Like, why do you feel the way you feel? And is that sustainable? Like, is your expectations of your family sustainable? And are you ready for the consequences of kind of like suffocating them?
I feel like most people don't think that far.
You need to, because it eventually will always get to that part. They're all gonna grow up. That's inevitable,
whether you want to or not.
Yeah.
So it's better to, you know, prepare for it now. All right. So all three of our stories, I want to say, kind of had some calling out to do. So someone was called out, whether or not we think they're at fault or not. So I would say like all three stories kind of left me feeling kind of, well, some of them questioning what my previous judgments were, like the cheating one.
Yeah.
But even in this one, it has me kind of questioning the consequences of things. Like whether, okay, you call someone out now, does it prevent it from happening later? Or were you too harsh in the moment? So a lot of these stories kind of triggered that type of thought for me.
I think these stories also show that sometimes you need to call them out. Like sometimes that's what they need to
like you
make.
nip it in the bud early.
Yeah, to make like a change for the better, hopefully.
Fingers crossed, hopefully. All right, guys. Well, those were our opinions, but let us know in the comments if you have any similar experiences that you'd like to share, a moment when you felt like you had to call someone out, or a moment where you regret not calling someone out.
Oh, that is very interesting. Let us know if you've ever come across these situations. We would love to know what your advice would be for these OPs in the comments below. And don't forget, if you haven't already, please subscribe and hit that like button to let us know that you're enjoying the stories. And don't forget to rate us 5 stars on Spotify.
Thanks, guys, and see you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.